Over this video and the next video, we're going to be looking at several of the key focus modes in Pro Tools. Now there's a bit of a learning curve to these, and it's going to take quite a bit of effort to incorporate them into your workflow, but it's seriously worth the effort made because it'll massively improve your efficiency as a Pro Tools operator. I'm in the edit window at the moment, and so the key focus is currently in one of three possible positions. If I had any MIDI parts in this track, they would be in a fourth, but we'll show you those later. You can see the position of the key focus by these A to Z buttons, which could be here, or down here. We'll start down here. This is group key focus. Now, remember when we created our groups in our earlier video, we gave the drums an easily memorable ID of D for drums. And if I right click here to modify, you can see here's my ID up at the top right. Well, this is because I can now turn on and off the groups with the D command. So currently they are grouped together. I press D and now they're ungrouped. You might remember as well that there are 4 lots of IDs available, so we have A to Z available in different layers. Well, unfortunately you can only actually have group key focus for the first 26 of them, but honestly I've never run out. You can also see that we have an option of all group command, and this is the exclamation mark key, so that's the shift and the 1 button, and now I've grouped all of my tracks in Pro Tools. Let's turn that off. Clip group or clip key focus. This allows me to quickly find clips from what can be quite a considerable list. Now I created a reverse effect earlier, so all I need to do is to turn on clip key focus and start typing the word reverse, and there it is. You have to be quite quick with your typing, but it can save you a lot of time. But the most important place to be using this, and where I leave command key focus most of the time, is as the edit mode here. There is actually a shortcut to change your key focus. Option command 2 has just moved it to the clips. Option command 3 will move it down here, and option command 1 returns it to the edit key focus position. And now your entire QWERTY keyboard has become a collection of really useful shortcuts. Let's start with the top row, the 1 to 0 keys. 1 to 5 are actually your zoom presets that we set here. So if I press 5, I'm going to zoom in quite significantly and zoom out like so. 6, 7, 8 and 9 are related to pre and post rolls, so I'll quickly create pre and post. Let's go for here. Remember, option click either side and I can set these. And the 6 button will allow me to play my pre-roll. 7 allows me to play from here by my post-roll amount. 8 is probably the most useful of these, and this will play up to the end of my timeline selection by the pre-roll amount. And if you have a really long timeline, like so, and I just want to check that this edit selection is, well, accurate, then all I need to do is to press the 8 key just to hear the very end of it without having to wait for, well, in this case here, 15 bars. 9 is play from my edit selection by the post roll amount. If I unlink my edit and timeline selections, and Shift / is our shortcut for this, I'll show you the 0 key. Now I'll make an edit selection here, and here is my timeline selection. So press 0 and you can see I copy my timeline selection to my edit selection. Now the layout of the keys on the QWERTY keyboard makes a lot of sense for these shortcuts, and you can see just underneath the 0 key you have an O, and this does the opposite and copies my edit selection to my timeline. Moving on down a bit to the Q and W keys, these perform a similar function to using the left and right arrows, and in fact they will do the same thing if you have your timeline and edit selections linked. If you remember, left arrow moves my edit selection to pretty much the middle, the beginning of this to the middle of the screen, and the right arrow moves the end of this to roughly the middle of the screen. And that was edit selection based, and I can do the same with Q and W for timeline. So Q, well, I can't really go any further to the left, but W will take me now, so my timeline selection is in the middle of the screen, and Q now puts me back, so I can at least see this. The E key is also related to your view position, and it's the same thing as clicking on here. So it's zoom to fit selection. This used to be known as, and a nice easy way to remember this, is explode. So it explodes your view. The R and T commands behave exactly the same as clicking on here or here. So these are my horizontal zoom out and in. I won't be demonstrating the Y, U and I keys right now. They're related to timecode, and I'll be looking at timecode in our post-production videos. That brings us nicely to the P button though. We already did the O, and P will move my edit selection up a track. And semicolon immediately underneath moves the edit selection down. And of course you can use the Shift key to extend a selection up and down across tracks. That's enough of the key commands for this video. In the next video we'll start with the A, S and D keys.